Hi all, I just wanted to do a quick video because I know there's a lot of confusion right now in terms of what's due for the lecture summaries, what the due dates are. So really quick, I just wanted to kind of go over that and the reason that there is so much confusion. So part of it was that I switched to doing the topics for the lecture summaries and labeling them by topic versus chapter number, because unfortunately I didn't realize that the new textbook that came out this year has the chapter numbers. The numbers are a little bit off from where the old textbook was. So they split up the nervous system where the old textbook didn't split it up. So the chapter numbering is a little bit off from the topics that we are on. And so please don't worry about that. If you have already submitted some lecture summaries according to the chapter number and it's a little bit off the topic, don't worry. I am accepting either of those options. I know that a few of you are concerned about or confused about the fact that there was the cardiovascular system. That all kind of was lumped into one lecture and one lecture summary. If you did that, great. If you didn't and you split it up like the lab and you did a lecture summary on the heart and then a lecture summary on blood vessels, that's fine as well. Again, the idea behind the lecture summaries is really just so that you're creating some notes for yourself for the exams, because that's usually the hardest part. Most students usually tend to fail in keeping up with the lecture section. It's easy to keep up with the lab because there's a lab quiz due every week. And prior to having the lecture summaries, students just weren't keeping up with the lecture. And so to help you try to stay on track, that's why I created the due dates for the lecture summaries. So again, if the lecture summary topic isn't the topic that it states, like if you did blood vessels and it's supposed to be lymphatic, that's okay. Go ahead and submit it. I'm not going to count you off for that. I just, really want you to get those lecture notes in for yourself before the exam. And with that, I wanted to tell you that for the exam, I'll also send an announcement on this, but I am going to offer 2 dates for the exam. So because I know that many of you are still adjusting to all of the changes, with some of you working from home now that you may not have a place for your children, so you're homeschooling them as well. So I know that there are all these challenges, and that's why I've kind of delayed the due dates for the lecture summaries as well as the lab quizzes. But then there's the exam. And so I know some of you are like, wait, I'm not ready for the exam. So I'm going to offer 2 dates for the exam, and I'm going to really hope that, again, you guys are honest, and if you take the exam on Wednesday, please don't share with, a person that's taking the exam on Saturday, because again, that throws everything off for everyone, and if you're caught with that, then the consequences are pretty severe in terms of you can be withdrawn for the course. And so anyway, I'm gonna hope that you're all adults. No one's gonna do that. So I'm going to give you the option to take the exam either on Wednesday evening or Saturday evening. If you are on track and you want to stay with that date because we had already set the date for Wednesday, and I know many of you are pretty strict with your scheduling, please stay on track and take that exam on Wednesday if you can. If for some of you, again, the chaos of the last 2 weeks has really set you off a little bit and you need a little bit of that extra study time, or maybe you need that just Friday night when your spouse is home when you can study without your kids, then please take the exam Saturday evening. Again, it will be the same time, so I'll offer the exam to be 5 through midnight. So what I'll do is I'll have the exam open on Wednesday from 5 to midnight, and then I'll close the exam, and then I'll reopen the exam on Saturday. So those of you that are taking the exam on Saturday, it's going to show that the exam is closed until I reopen it right before 5 o'clock. So please don't freak out. I will reopen it for you on Saturday. Let's see. The other thing I wanted to quickly get in here, because this is causing a little bit of confusion, is the lecture quiz 8. So the lecture quiz 8 is split up into a part 1 and a part 2, and it has to do with points. but it makes it confusing because lecture part 1 is on the lymphatic, and then the lecture quiz 8 part 2 is on the respiratory. So, and that due date I am also going to push back as well, because I realize that due date right now is prior to you getting the respiratory lecture. So I'll push that due date back. Let's see. And then I wanted to really quick just kind of remind you to keep up with things. This is the kind of hard push. And unfortunately, fortunately and unfortunately, right, the online courses are continuing. So we didn't get the 2-week break while everybody was kind of figuring things out, like the face-to-face courses were. So we just kind of kept steamrolling through all the chaos. So the plus side to that is that hopefully then you should be, taking your final exam possibly prior to, a week prior to your other courses. So that might help out a little bit in terms of not overloading you with so many final exams. I don't know, it may not be that way because some of you may still have the same due dates. And so, again, I'm trying to be as flexible as I can with you, but I also don't want you to fall too far behind. So, just a couple of reminders there. Also, the other thing I wanted to remind you is that I do have posted my Google voicemail number, and please feel free to use that. If you call me during the day, during the week, you may have my children in the background as I am homeschooling as well now. But I can always take a few moments to answer questions from you. And sometimes it is really hard to answer some of your questions for you and for me, right? It's very hard for you to ask them and for me to answer them just through emails. So if you would like, I do have a Google voicemail number, and I'll read that off for you really quick. It's 602-644-1726, and it's also on the syllabus, so you can find it there as well. We should get caught up. All of the confusion with the lecture summary should be caught up after the exam 3. One other point of confusion before I forget is many of you are a little bit confused with the fact that there is no lecture summary for the respiratory system. Again, it just has to do with points. So you're right, you won't see a lecture summary for the respiratory system, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't do the lecture notes. Respiratory system is a smaller chapter, but there's a lot in the respiratory chapter, so please do the lecture notes for yourself, even though you're not technically getting the points for them. You'll want to have, your note cards, whatever you've been doing for the lecture summary. So I think that's it. If you have questions, please contact me. I know that this is the end of the semester. It's a big push. There are still some tough chapters out there. I will warn you that the urinary lecture is kind of a beast, so please take some time with that. Also the reproductive is a little bit difficult, but usually students do a little better with that. But the urinary and the reproductive, believe it or not, reproductive system, once you get into it, you're like, whoa, there was a lot I didn't know. So please don't kind of push that off as, oh, I'll do that the night before, I'll be fine because I already know a lot about the reproductive system. You'll be surprised how much detail the reproductive system goes into. So please, again, don't underestimate that lecture. Give yourself some time for it. Again, if you have any questions, any concerns, please contact me. I'm here. That's what I'm here for. I'm here for you. So with that, good luck, and I hope that all of you are staying safe and doing well.